The MLB free agent period is usually pretty slow to develop, but things are happening in particular on the starting pitching market already, which is obviously always kind of a place we as Twins fans are looking at to improve the rotation. Really, any team. There's no such thing as too much pitching. As you can see here, I've got an article up from Twins Daily. Matthew Taylor wrote that the Twins really need to re-sign Jake Odorizzi. It's becoming urgent because this was at the time Marcus Stroman and Kevin Gausman had accepted the qualifying offer. So both of those two guys already out of the free agent pool. We have more news. Drew Smyly. Drew Smyly got an $11 million deal from the Braves. This is a guy who pitched really well for the Giants, but it was in 26 and a third innings. That's like maybe a month's worth of work under normal circumstances. Again, he was really nasty, 37.8 strikeout rate. That's crazy, 14.35 K per nine. Absolutely wild, but a tiny sample, and he got $11 million from the Braves. This comes after Robbie Ray also signed as a free agent already. He went back to Toronto for $8 million, and he had another guy who's got a lot of potential. He strikes out a lot of guys, but the overall numbers are ugly on both of these guys. You can see the upside, but both of them are ugly. And this is, everybody was expecting this cold market, not a lot of money out there due to uncertainty. So for, the qualifying offers being accepted, maybe sort of lend themselves to that. Those guys were not really excited about testing the market. They were worried about what was going to be out there. But then we see these two guys in Smyly and Ray really come down with a bunch of money early on in the offseason here. So let's jump over to Fangraphs. And I have those three guys, Odorizzi, Ray, and Smyly, all pulled up here. This is from the start of 2019 on, so the 2019 season and then the abbreviated 2020 season. As you can see, Jake Odorizzi, he has a 3.75 ERA over that stretch. That is a run lower than Robbie Ray and almost 2 runs lower than Drew Smyly over this time. And this sample of Drew Smyly is still 140 and a third innings. It's not like this is some tiny sample that we're looking at. And as you can see, those numbers ring pretty true for FIP. XFIP tells a bit of a different story. It actually prefers Robbie Ray to Odorizzi, and Drew Smyly has a much more palatable mark there. But as you can see, in terms of wins above replacement, Odorizzi 4.3 over that period, Robbie Ray at 2, and Drew Smyly at just 0.7. And, the strikeouts, one thing I want to point out here is that while Odorizzi ranks third in strikeouts per 9, if we actually look at the K percentage, which is a little bit more accurate of a way to do it, he actually does come in just above Drew Smyly. So even though K per 9, Smiley's higher, K percentage, Odorizzi is actually better. So, I'd argue he's a better strikeout pitcher. His K minus walk percentage is much, much higher than either of those guys. And his whip is way better. Odorizzi with a 1.22 whip over this period, Robbie Ray 1.47, and Drew Smyly 1.5. So if Smiley's getting 11 million, if Ray's getting 8 million, I threw a poll out there on Twitter, like, what are we expecting Jake Odorizzi's annual average value to be on his new contract? And there you can see the results so far. The most common answer is between 12 and 10.1 million. That was what I was mostly seeing in the free agent predictions when they first came out. Again, Drew Smyly just got 11 million, so I got to think it's higher than that. The second place ranking in this vote, pretty evenly distributed among these four options, 14 to 12.1 million. You might get 21 million the way things are going. I would actually have picked probably 14.1 million or higher. If Drew Smyly's getting an $11 million 1-year deal, I'd have to expect Jake Odorizzi's going to get at least 14 million. Now, maybe Odorizzi will opt to try to find a longer term deal and take a less annual average value. It's hard to say. He did take the qualifying offer last year, and that kind of bit him. Maybe he's looking for a little bit more stability. And then again, maybe he's looking for another 1 year to build on value and go back into the market. Who knows? I have to expect he's really going to get paid, but man, this is not great news if you are hoping for the Twins to land some big starting pitching. I feel like I think this is also in turn going to impact the starting pitching trade market. I feel like if you're out there trying to trade a starting pitcher, now that the free agent pool has been diminished with Stroman and Gausman taking those qualifying offers and Smyly and Ray signing, your assets that you hold in the trade market are going to be that much more valuable because they're going to be that much more in demand. So Jake Odorizzi is going to get paid. The Twins are going to need to add at least one starting pitcher, in my opinion, maybe even two. And it's going to be interesting to see how this all develops. Are these guys coming away with more money because they're signing early? And are things going to kind of dry up as the offseason goes? It's going to be pretty fascinating to see how players, and agents, how aggressive they're going to try to be in getting things done, and teams as well. Just so many unknowns, but these are really strong indications, in my opinion, that at least in the starting pitcher market, things are going to be really hot. Now, on the flip side, as many people have pointed out, Brad Hand, anybody could have had him for $10 million. This has been a really good relief pitcher. Every team in baseball passed up on the chance to claim him for a $10 million one-year salary. So maybe teams are valuing starting pitchers more, and they're not going to value relievers and bats as much. I don't know. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how it all unfolds. And again, so much uncertainty with the money. Please consider subscribing if you want some more Twins talk here on YouTube. Again, thanks for checking this out. We'll talk again soon.